exciting edition of American Warrior Radio, the place to be for news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard or Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, sponsored by AVET Project. You know, this program is all about supporting our troops. So all you patriotic Americans out there, get comfortable and let's kick the tires and light the fires. Locked and loaded, we are ready to roll. My name is Garen Cohn. I'm the president and founder of AVET Project. I'm an Air Force veteran and a retired legal advocate for veterans. But as always, I'm not flying through the airwaves alone.
Good morning, I'm Glenn McGuffey. I'm retired Air Force, so you got a couple ex-blue suiters coming at you today. I'm manager of your Brevard County Veteran Service Office and have been for over 20 years. And it's an honor to be here and bring y'all the right information at the right time, right here, right now. And so stay tuned. I encourage you to get maybe a pencil and a piece of paper together because we're always giving out important addresses and phone numbers. And that way you can, if your memory's like mine, you got to write it down. So, well, let's get cranking up here, Garen.
I'm with you, Glenn. You know, folks, we've been on a hiatus because here at WMEL, they have carried Florida Gator football for many, many years. And during the last 3 weeks, you've probably been wondering where American Warrior Radio went. We've been here. We just haven't been broadcasting. So welcome back to everybody that's listening. We've got a lot to cover here today, Glenn. As we get started, though, so many things have happened since we last broadcast.
Oh, absolutely. Good. Let's try and run it down for the folks because some of these are very important things that have gone on and will hopefully entice you to participate in some of them next year because some of them are annual events.
Exactly. And for all you folks that are not here in Central Florida or on the Space and Treasure coasts, we want to encourage you to listen anyway, and you never know when you may have an opportunity to get involved in some event or something similar to what we're going to discuss. But Glenn, you were a big part, as was AVET Project and several other groups, in welcoming the U.S. Navy to town, the USS Ponce. Very successful event.
Yes, and you only get the right pronunciation here. I heard some of the other radio stations announcing the arrival and tours of the USS Ponce.
The guys on the ship weren't too happy about that, I'm sure.
I bet they weren't.
But it is the USS Ponce, and AVET Project, along with some other groups, were able to feed 700-plus sailors and Marines, because it was a joint mission ship.
Yeah, and that was awesome. And, you know, that mission can do that ship can do several missions, some of them simultaneously. They can do air support with Harrier jump jets and helicopters. At the same time, offload Marines to go ashore if that's what's required, provide communication support, and much more. And it was an active United States naval warship, and the turnout for that over the days that it was here was beyond phenomenal.
No kidding. You know, we did a private party function for the crew, and they loved it. They said they'd never received a welcome to port like that before, and we thank the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Military Affairs Council with that outfit, as well as the Navy and all the other groups that got involved. But throughout the course of the public tours, which was really only a few days, the final tally was somewhere just under 10,000 people took advantage of the free public tours.
And we hope that's indicative of the kind of support there is for veterans and veterans issues. And, well, we know it. No, we don't hope. We know that's the kind of support that Brevard County provides because of the high number of military retirees, plus the active duty we have both at the port and Patrick Air Force Base and out at the Cape. It engenders that kind of daily contact with the military and mutual respect, both back and forth. And, you know, we're going to present to you opportunities to volunteer. We're going to present to you, you know, as the shows go by, we'll present to you lots of information. And we know you want to step up to the plate when you find something that's particularly enticing to you. Let's use that word.
Yeah, exactly, because it is a community effort. Whenever we put on an event to benefit past and present, this is the term we like to use at AVET Project, because it kind of, like you mentioned, encompasses the whole group. Past and present military members and their families. And we help other needy Americans as well, but our focus is on helping those folks that have actually put the uniform on and served honorably for the United States of America. Speaking of support, though, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the wonderful job that WMEL Studios AM 1300 did in promoting the whole public tours of the USS Ponce.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, you're listening to the one radio station that got the pronunciation right. As we get all that information we provide to you about veterans issues correct and timely and to you.
And since we're on the subject of community events, on Veterans Day, AVET Project along with Rolling Thunder got together and produced a wonderful Veterans Day celebration. We held it at the International Palms Resort in Cocoa Beach, right there on the beach. It was a phenomenal venue. The turnout was outstanding. All the remarks and feedback that we've gotten has been really positive. And Glenn, you were there.
Oh, I thought it was totally awesome, and I'll probably steal some of your later thunder, but that's all right. The folks from KTEL who donated the gun that we talked about for several weeks for you, that awesome piece of gun that I wanted and didn't win.
You bought a ticket, though, but you didn't win.
And I bought some tickets, and
but something interesting happened.
Yeah, something interesting happened during the celebrations. They donated another one.
It was a shock. Derek Kellgren of Keltec got up on the stage and said, "This is going to be a surprise to AVET Project and Garen and Kim and Rolling Thunder folks, but we're going to donate a second RFB, which is their rifle forward ejecting bullpup. It's a 308, valued at like $2,200. Right. And the neat thing is, all the folks were obviously waiting for that big drawing, and now they had double the chance. Fortunately, a lot of folks jumped up out of their chairs, went out and purchased some more raffle tickets. So we awarded two of those to two lucky winners. And one of the guys had actually purchased a ticket at a Patriot gun show that AVET Project went to promote AVET Project as well as the rifle auction. He lives over in Tampa, but he bought his ticket down in Miami. The other one was a local airman.
Yeah, well, Master Sergeant, I believe it was, stationed out of Patrick Air Force
Yeah,
Base.
a tech sergeant actually.
Oh, tech sergeant, okay.
Active duty, and he and his wife had both come to the party, the Veterans Day celebration. So it was really neat to see somebody right here, right local at Patrick Air Force Base win the second one. And if you folks are interested, you can jump online, go to YouTube. You can easily find things out about AVET Project. Just dial up avetproject.org, O-R-G. If you're interested in the latest and greatest, you can just flow down the page of the home page on the lower left portion, and you'll see the Facebook icon.
That's a big F down there, because I didn't know what it was the first time they told me, and I said, what are they talking about? So I just started clicking things and found it.
It was that easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was that easy.
And the neat thing is, you don't have to be a Facebook member. So many people have an aversion to getting involved in social media. You don't have to be a member. Just click on it, and it'll take you there. You can't like interact, but you can certainly view all the photos, interviews, and all this jazz.
Yeah, it's a great site.
It is, and we have our executive director as well as some other contributors to thank for that, but Kim Cohn is instrumental in compiling all that latest and greatest information as well as the videos. You're watching American Warrior Radio, and this is going to be posted on YouTube. Well, there's a great video capture of us awarding the rifle to Tech Sergeant, if I get his name right here, Jason Lashow from Patrick Air Force Base, along with Derek Kellgren of Keltec, in the offices of Keltec. It was a great presentation, and they've invited him to their gun range to go fire it. So,
yeah, that's very cool, and you also need to know a little more of the human side of it. He had already gone home from the party.
This is a good story.
And
he did buy a second ticket, though, when he heard the announcement.
He did buy a second ticket, and he'd already gone home to, chill out. And when Garen called him and let him know that he'd won, he jumped in his car and came back and got his gun.
Any smart man would have done that, but it was just a real treat to be able to award two rifles. And we thank Keltec for their sponsorship, because they made one heck of a commitment. Two $2,200 rifles plus sponsorship of the event. And Derek and everybody over at Keltec, which, by the way, Glenn, I think we've mentioned this in the past, Keltec is an American company.
Absolutely, and right here.
They're right here in Cocoa.
Yeah.
They use American parts. The rifles are assembled here, And you might all find this interesting, but they employ a great percentage of workers that are veterans.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. Stole it from me, so
No,
that's okay.
okay.
I stole from you and you stole
That's
from
right.
me.
Grab it back.
As long as we get it out there.
Yeah, it's phenomenal company. We really appreciate their support. And I got to mention some of the other companies that really stepped up to help
Absolutely.
with not only the Veterans Day celebration, but year in and year out, we can count on some of these companies for their support. That would be Northrop Grumman. Everybody knows that's a aerospace and military-related outfit that does so much.
Giant.
Yeah, it truly is. And we appreciate their support. Shout out to Jackie at Northrop Grumman. Luke and Associates, which, by the way, Jeff Bodine, we've had him on the radio before, and he's been featured in some of our events. He is sponsored. His race series this year, I guess he ran about 7 races, was sponsored by Luke and Associates.
I think he ran the last 2 from what I saw.
Is that right?
Sure, yeah.
Well, we want to thank them, as well as Vitas. Gregory Overton is a great man. He was there, made a presentation to the crowd. Wonderful support from them. Veteran Service, Veteran Support Organization. There's just a bunch. What about that AUSA? Did they show up? I think they did.
AUSA, oh yeah, that's that.
Brian.
Association of the U.S. Army.
Yeah, Association U.S. Army. I couldn't get it out.
They're great folks. And as a matter of fact, just the other week, AVET Project took a donation of a bunch of Christmas cards that the children in one of the O'Galley teachers had asked them to make Christmas cards to send to the troops. We stopped in there and picked up a big, huge box of Christmas cards. And Brian Jaskowitz of AUSA, as well as SCIS, his own business, showed up, and he and I shared with the 9th graders of O'Galley High School some of the ins and outs about what it really means about freedom and liberty and the costs involved.
Absolutely, and we've got several more, and we want to make sure we honor all of them for their support, and that'll be coming up to you right after the break. Stay with us and come back.
Little situation, but I wanted to thank some of the other sponsors: SpaceX, FedEx, Lifestyle Homes here, and Granddaughter's Place, as well as Grand Villa, Simi Cakes, Knights Armament, Craig Technologies, Armstrong Chiropractic, Push Creative, which was instrumental in making all of the programs and the posters and what have you, Ideal Image, Baytree Behavioral Health, and we couldn't have done any of this without DJ Gene the Marine, who provided all the sound and what have you. We've got BJ's Wholesale and just a slew of other folks. You've got the list there. What about Ken Roden? He made a pretty good impression. He's running for public defender.
Yeah, Ken was there collecting signatures to support his campaign for public defender. Seemed like a good gentleman. Not going to mention anything political here one way or the other, but he was there supporting us in style, and I agree. Seemed like a very nice gentleman, and anybody can support us at any time. So.
That's right. We welcome this support. I tell you what, he's been involved in. He was actually out at the Ponce. I think he put on the barbecue apron, was flipping some burgers and dogs and chickens. And he's been at past events for AVET Project. So if you're politically inclined, check out Ken Roden for public defender here in.
Yeah, give him a shake.
Yeah, District 18. Am I right on that? I'm on Funeral Homes, another one that really supported us, as well as Cianfrona Law Firm and Britta Hawkins did a wonderful job and really supported the effort. But you can find out all of these folks by going to avetproject.org. You can see, if you go to the sponsors page and click on the icon or the link for the event, you'll see all of the I'm getting in my ear here. I forgot to mention our band, our entertainment for the evening, which was called Ready in a Minute. It's a group of young people, a 16 and 2 15-year-olds, and they had a story to tell, because one of them had lost their dad, or no, they'd lost a cousin, and their dad, the two of them are brothers, their dad is actually over in Afghanistan right now. We had a special guest there too. I may as well mention that right now.
Yeah.
Bob Smith, an ex-POW from World War II. We were just particularly blessed to be able to honor him. And you were telling stories about the event. And I know we're going along here, folks, but these are the type of things that you want to get involved in to show your support It's easy if you just look around. If you're not here in Central Florida or on the Space and Treasure Coast, just Google veterans events. Get in touch with the American Legion or the VFW or any of these local outfits, and I'm sure you can find a place to volunteer and really make a difference in the lives of our warriors and their families. The kids did this wonderful song. It was a tribute song they'd actually written for their cousin that had passed away, and they sang it and performed it in front of Bob Smith, our honored guest of the evening. He was presented a wonderful plaque by Eric, a Vietnam veteran who has supported this considerably. We have, I think, some shirts and some books we gave to him, and he actually had tears in his eyes as he accepted it, because he'd never been given a welcome home like that, even after World War II. But we still have a few minutes here before we go to break at the bottom of the hour. But I wanted to get that information out there because it's important, folks, to get involved. International Palms Resort did a bang-up job in hosting the event, and we just thank everybody for participating. Other things have been going on too, though, and I have to say this is going to be a hats off to my co-host Glenn McGuffey, because I got to tell you, folks, to be on this program week in and week out with Glenn, somebody that's credentialed, he has a wealth of experience. How many years you been doing the supervisor job?
Over 21.
And that's after he did an entire career with the United States Air Force. So hats off to you, but you got a special honor, and it was presented before the County Board of Commissioners at their latest meeting. You and your office and all of your associates and staff were honored as the best, folks, County Veteran Service Office in Florida, where there are 66 other counties. So hats off to you, Glenn. Wonderful, wonderful job, and I'm glad you got that award in front of the county commissioners so that they can see firsthand the kind of work and the kind of recognition your office deserves.
Well, we were totally honored. I'm rarely at a loss for words, and I wasn't then really. But you know, as I said when I accepted the award, it's almost like, you know, you give it to the head guy and you think that's his award, and it certainly is not. It's a team award, which includes 3 work study students that the VA graciously funds for us, that we wouldn't be able to make it without, quite frankly, because we're a little short-handed. But, you know, there are other places that are feeling that burden in this economic downturn that we're facing right now. But back to the award, it's just totally awesome. We're just overwhelmed.
And there are pictures. You can see the award ceremony. You can watch the video. You can take a look at Glenn and his staff out there with Mr. T, I believe,
yeah,
right?
Ken T, who's the head of the Department of Veterans of Foreign Wars
Service
Office for the state of Florida.
It was very gracious of him to do that, and a very well-spoken man, and I know he took great pleasure in giving you that award. The thing that I want to mention, though, even though it was before the county commissioners, you and I'm sure some of your counterparts in the other counties here in Florida really could use some more staff.
Well, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, the demand continues to go up and will continue to go up as drawdown efforts proceed. I mean, that's one factor in there. The other is, you just seem to reach points, peaks and valleys, and we're at a peak right now where people go, well, I just found out about you, and I'm coming in for this. But a lot of that are surviving spouses who have lived here for a long time but had no need for us, and then unfortunately their veteran spouse passes away, and they may or may not be entitled to anything, but the best place to find out is our office, and they hear from friends, thank goodness, and come and get the correct information at our office. Because let me tell you, don't listen to your neighbor because your neighbor got something or didn't get something or thinks they know something or don't think they know something. They are a universal bad source of information, because not because they're bad thinking people or bad people.
It's that grapevine, that rumor mill.
Yeah, and by the time it gets to people who aren't in the business, it gets warped.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, and we see changes every day. I mean, you know, it's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes just to keep up with the status quo. So you need to come see us to get all your claims help done, please. And a little later on, I'm gonna cover some other reasons why you should do that and the problems that are created if you don't do that.
And it's important for everybody to realize, whether you're here in Florida or in Montana, Texas, even if you're over in Afghanistan, you got to support the local county veteran service offices because, and most states do have CVSOs.
Yeah, most of them do.
Because they are credentialed, they do have the latest knowledge, and they're able to assist you or your dependents with claims before the VA. Here on the Space Coast, with the demolition, I guess, for lack of a better word, of NASA, you saw a great influx of folks coming for everything from enrollment into healthcare to trying to get some benefits that they never thought they'd need, and all of a sudden, boom, they need them. So couple that with the drawdown you mentioned, and the fact that you got this influx of folks getting out of the military. It's a perfect storm.
That was another. Yeah, it's a perfect storm. That's a good analogy because, yes, we did get a ton of business out of the NASA folks, and we're continuing to get business out of them because the nature of the VA world is you don't just put a claim in and get a decision and that's it. I mean, usually there's follow-up with appeals on parts of the decision you don't agree with. You certainly need follow-up just to understand what the VA has done for you or to you and go from there. So it's an ongoing process. I actually think it's a lifelong process once you start a claim with the VA because unlike military disabilities that you might have been given where whatever you got, if it was 20% when you got out of the military and you keep that for the rest of your life, in the VA, if that disability gets worse, all you have to do is present current medical evidence that shows it's worse and get the VA to see if it's worse enough to qualify for a higher rating. And
which means
that's
more money.
for the whole time of your life. So.
Exactly, which means more money.
Oh, absolutely.
And I have to say that with the economic conditions everybody's suffering from, I know staffing, particularly in government offices, is always going to be questioned, but your office and all other county veteran service offices actually provide not just a service to the vet, but to the community because you're bringing in federal money. This is disposable income. You got any kind of number on that you can throw out to the audience?
There's over $230 million annually that comes into the county based on paid out veterans benefits, and that doesn't always include everything that's paid out because the VA doesn't have any good way to track survivor benefits because survivors tend to move after the loss of a spouse, and but you know, over 230 million says a mouthful right there.
It sure does. You're bringing money into the county, and you could definitely use some more service officers and a secretary, for crying out loud. So folks here in Brevard County, put some pressure on the county commissioners to fully staff this office that actually not only provides a service but brings money into the local economy. We're coming to the bottom of the hour, and we're going to be taking a break, and when we come back we're going to cover a couple other things, and then we've got some good meat and potatoes stuff. So like you mentioned, we want everybody to grab a pen and pencil.
Yep, grab a cup of coffee, stay with us, come right back.
We'll be right back here on WMEL with American Warrior Radio. Stay tuned.